What's going on, guys? Devin, I'm back. XTech Talks. We are here with Mr. Ifanzon, the AZCDL's chief lobbyist, correct?
Yes.
Man, we have so much to talk about, all the way up to news that you got today. But the way we always like to start off this show is, what was your first experience with a firearm, if you can remember it?
Pig hunting when I was probably about 12 years old. I borrowed my stepdad's M1 carbine and went wild pig hunting with some friends.
Just on your own, you guys decided to nomadically go?
Yeah, I grew up in South Florida with a bunch of rednecks, so yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So how did your first experience with firearms lead up to you essentially wanting to become a professional and someone who is an advocate and activist for the Second Amendment? And we're going to get into what I like to differentiate between an activist and an advocate, but
well, it kind of goes back a little, kind of get the whole story, okay?
We like whole stories.
Grew up in Miami, Florida, single mom for most of my life. Stepdad didn't marry my mom till I was 19, so he was stepdad with just kind of mom's boyfriend. Great guy. Mom passed away 10 years ago. I still call him dad. You know, but at 17, I left home, joined the Marine Corps. Spent 2 enlistments in the Marine Corps in the infantry. Gun carrier, you know.
What were you carrying back then?
M16A2.
That's the Colt, is that right? Or the FN?
Colt.
Colt.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Actually qualified in boot camp with the M16A1, which sucked.
I was actually just watching a video of Eugene Stoner and Kalashnikov next to each other shooting each other's rifles. I've never seen that video before, but
really,
yeah,
okay.
I just saw it today.
Yeah. But after the Marine Corps, finished college, I pastored a church for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Always been a firearms owner. The first weapon that I ever bought was a Ruger Blackhawk.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Ruger. We love Ruger.
Yes, Arizona company. I'm an old school type firearms enthusiast. I had a pair of Ruger Vaqueros at one time, cowboy mounted shooter, single action shooter society. Back in the day, love the old cowboy, wheel guns. I just think that they're classic and old school. You know,
right? There's a lot of nostalgia with those.
Yeah. And you can't really screw it up.
Right.
But when I left being a pastor, I was a college counselor for a while. It's always been about the Constitution. It's always about protecting freedoms and getting people to advance their causes. So after I kind of semi-retired, I started volunteering for a motorcycle rights organization, being their lobbyist. Advocating for motorcycle rights and things, and realized I was pretty good at it. Went back to school, went to law school, and kind of morphed into Dave Kopp, who has passed away, was the lobbyist for AZCDL since their founding. And when I opened my own lobby firm, he, within 10 minutes of me announcing it, he called me and says, "I want to be your first client." So AZCDL hired me.
Wow.
So,
all right, let's backtrack a little bit, because you just said a lot. So, man, where do I even want to get into this at? Because you have been serving the people your whole life. So that's why I want you to unpack for us a little bit, is leading by service. That's one of the phrases that I essentially live by. Our mutual friend, Maj Toure, he says that all the time. If you're going to be a leader, you better be able to exhibit what you want people to be following.
What's leadership? That's basic leadership.
Yeah, fundamental.
Yeah.
So where would you say your drive or your zeal to consistently and always be fighting for people on their behalf, almost, and a lot of times, as a fellow activist, I can say, sometimes to our detriment, we're fighting on the behalf of other people. So how did you do it?
My mom was a hippie in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
A conservative hippie. if you can imagine that.
No, they're real.
She went
They're
to
real.
Woodstock and took me to a Led Zeppelin concert when I was 2, but I was always taught that one person can make a difference in the world. The hippie movement of the 60s tried to change the culture of the country, and they did, but not in the way they wanted to do it. So she always taught me that you have to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. You have to fight for what you always believe in, and don't ever back down. So, and you can make a difference to make the world a better place, even if it is your little piece of the world. When I train grassroots advocates, I tell them, look, you don't have to change the country. You have to change your neighborhood. If you change your neighborhood by neighborhood, it starts the ball rolling. Change the city, change the state, change the country. That's how we do it. And I got that from my mom growing up.
I love that.
So all the conservative freedom stuff that we push is actually based in hippie. I tell people all the time, growing up in the South, somebody who was conservative and somebody who was progressive or liberal, completely different ends of the spectrum. I tell folks all the time, the Democrats here in Arizona, majority of them would be Republicans in the South. That's how conservative the Democrats are here, for the most part. We have, quote unquote, progressive Democrats in our state legislature that go hunt, and they own firearms, and they love the Second Amendment. You go to Minnesota or New York, you don't get that.
Colorado is.
Maj is fighting the progressives
in Philly right now, yeah.
Because they don't want, they think that the government should protect you, and nobody else should. So it's really, Arizona's a different animal.
Just to speak on that real quick, Maj's case literally happened while he was teaching a pistol class.
Yep.
To me, that is absolutely insane that he had to deal with any type of litigation while teaching people how to use what he was charged with safely. Like, what else would you want people to do? The only thing that he didn't do was follow the red tape and appease the government by giving them an extortion amount of money. But
don't even get me going there.
Well, no. That's why I brought you here, to get you going.
Taxation is theft across the board.
100%.
That's the libertarian, small L, libertarian in me.
Yeah.
I had a Democrat call me yesterday. A Democrat legislator called me yesterday. She was really depressed and feeling real down. She said, "I feel beat up." 45-minute conversation. It's funny. She had me laughing so hard I almost peed my pants. She goes, "I'm calling you because you're my safe space." I started laughing. She goes, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "Motorcycle, biker, Marine, combat veteran, Second Amendment fighter, gun owner, carrying all the time, Republican, conservative, more conservative fiscally than the Tea Party, and I'm your safe space. You got problems, lady." So I mean, she's a great person. She's a veteran, so she's a great person, and we agree on what we agree on, and we don't argue over the stuff we disagree on, and we try to move the needle forward for liberty for everybody.
This is actually one of the questions that I asked you when we first met at the Women's for Gun Rights meetup. You seem to have a very, very good understanding of, quote unquote, crossing the proverbial line to be able to work with what will be perceived as the opposition. And some of them are outright opposition. They're paid for opposition of the Second Amendment. But how do you manage to get work done while also maintaining a no compromise position?
I don't eat Brussels sprouts. Hate them, don't like the smell of them. I think they smell like feet. My wife loves them. I will cook them for her. I will put them on her plate, cooking dinner. Because I make it doesn't mean I have to eat it. Because she likes it. We'll eat steak together. We'll eat fried chicken together. We'll eat pizza together. But I don't have to eat Brussels sprouts. That's her thing. So we can agree on what we agree on, but I don't have to bite into what she likes.
So can you give us some of the examples of you getting legislation passed on behalf of the Second Amendment while garnering support from the Democrats?
2010, to be able to get constitutional carry in our state, we had to get Democrat buy-in.
Oh, this is good. This is good.
This is a throwback to how moderate Democrats are vilified by their party, and moderate Republicans are the same way. We got it a lot through. We had a state legislator who was a Democrat. She was a Prada progressive, is self-proclaimed Prada progressive.
I don't even know what that means.
That means she was all about bling, very progressive.
Okay. Prada, okay.
Okay. Decided she was going to co-sponsor the bill because it was all about the Constitution and all about liberty. That's how we got it passed. She whipped the Democrat votes to get it done. Her name is Kirsten Sinema.
Wow. That's great work, bro. Like, I'm impressed because I essentially, when I grow up, I want to do something similar to what you do. So what is the path to that? You have a Forrest Gump-like story as far as the things that you've done in life. But how did you get into specific? I mean, you told us you came from the motorcycle world, saw that you were a good advocate and lobbyist there. What are the, like, I guess, signature characteristics or skills that you say you naturally had being a lobbyist?
I can think on my feet pretty fast. Took debate and speech and debate in high school, and part of the things was, you had to stand up and you had to pick a card out of a hat. You don't know if you're for or against something, and you had 3 minutes to figure out how you're going to do a 60-second pitch extemporaneously to change the minds of everybody in the room. And I would always get stuff that I didn't believe in. So I had to think of and learn how to think of what the other side is doing. How would I feel if I was in their shoes? How would I make the argument from their point of view? And once I got that, making mine is easy, because their point of view is trying to cut holes in everything that I'm trying to do. And if I already know where they're coming from, I can fill the holes in.
Right.
And get them to start at least coming to the center. And we always say in the political world, it's either you're for or against or you're neutral. A lot of the firearms issues, the Democrats are against, just naturally. If I can get them to neutral, I win. I win 7 days to Sunday. So, and that's what my job is. I use data and I use facts. I don't use emotions. I tell them all the time, and we got a bill to the governor's desk a couple years ago. She vetoed it, but it was to be able to allow concealed carry on college campuses, and a companion bill was to allow teachers to carry in the classroom if they had a concealed weapons permit and went through a certain amount of training. The Faster Saves Life program, basically.
Okay.
And they're like, well, teachers can't have guns, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And one of the Democrat legislators brought up, we have these school shootings, and I went, hold on there. I said, I have a family member that was killed in a school shooting.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, well, when? I said, my cousin Anne Marie was killed at Sandy Hook. My family is the only family that didn't file in a lawsuit against Remington, because we're still Second Amendment supporters. If she had the ability to carry a firearm, she would still be alive, and so would the kids that she was trying to protect. So don't hand me that teachers shouldn't have firearms, and they shut up. They don't argue with me anymore.
Wow.
If you want to throw emotion, I can get emotional. Let's work on data. Let's work on facts. Let's work on figures. The whole John Lott, Dr. Lott, with all his facts and figures. Use that. Let's do this logically. Let's do good policy based upon fact, not mediocre or bad policy based on emotion.
Wow. That's powerful. That's very powerful.
Well, it works.
Yeah. Wow. So when you are at the state capitol or in DC, When you see the opposition, what is their usual strategy here? Because coming from Colorado and Virginia, when I was heavily involved in the Second Amendment fights, I would see adolescent to college age kids get marched in there. They would have professionally prepared folders with the logos on them and all of the talking points ready to go. Basically trained to go in and give a speech. And what I realized was like, oh, they got smart. They understand that a high school girl telling a board that she's afraid of school shootings versus an old white guy yelling 1776, they're going to win the optics battle every single time.
Well, see, I don't do the 1776 thing.
Yeah,
I really, I wasn't alive then. My family didn't come to this country to the 1890s. So, you know, wait a minute here. You know, I mean, we came to this country for freedom, and part of that freedom is our Bill of Rights. I stood up at 17 and raised my hand to protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That never went away. I've raised my hand multiple times with that. You know, it's anytime we're in committee in the legislature, I always ask the committee chairman, put me up last, call me up last. That way, all the prepared speeches are all done, and I'm sitting there taking notes. I'll cut them. You know, I'll cut them down, left and right. It doesn't matter. You know,
and all with logic, just sound. Regular logic.
It's being prepared. You
right.
know, it's all about training. You know, if we want to be prepared, if somebody wants to break in our house, we need to go to the range. Low light training. You know, I saw a meme today, or kind of a tweet thing today. You know, what's the scariest thing? You know, waking up in the middle of the night. One person wrote, having to kill the guy when I'm butt naked. You know, well, I mean, we laugh and you know, I read that to my wife. She goes, "Yeah, you probably just take off your pajamas just to do it." You know, I jokingly, but if you don't prepare that quick reflexes, if you don't practice, if you're not prepared for the fight, you'll lose.
Right.
Whether it's a verbal argument or if it's deadly force, you need to be prepared at all times.
Wow. Okay. So you also mentioned that you train younger activists, correct? Tell us about that.
We've done some internships from ASU. Gotten a couple law students to come over and for short periods of time to teach them about public policy, how to write bills, how to write legislation. I joke with the folks I went to law school with. You know, one did a group text with us and, hey, I just won $1.5 million, you know, decision for one of my clients. I'm like, cool. Did you use the law I wrote? I mean, it's a dig, but it's like, I have laws that I've written that are on the books in our state statute forever. Forever it'll be there. That's legacy type stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, tell us about them. Tell us which ones they are. That's
well,
amazing. That means you're in history forever.
Well, the Veteran Stolen Valor Bill that was passed here last year, I wrote that. Motorcycle lane filtering here in Arizona. We were the third state in the country to pass that. They told us that'll never pass. We got it unanimous out of one of the chambers. You know, so I mean, we've gotten 6 bills to the governor's desk this past year for firearms. I mean, they all got vetoed, but we'll eventually get them across.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's little things. The law here in Arizona that if you're carrying something in the back of your pickup truck, you have to tie it down. I wrote that just because
safety.
Yeah, it's a safety thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about our citizens being able to live their best life. You know, I want my next door neighbors to succeed and flourish as much as I do. You know, that old saying, you know, a rising tide raises all boats.
Right.
I truly believe that. If I can do better, then my next door neighbor can do better. You know, I'm going to share with the community. I'm going to give back to the community.
I agree.
But it's teaching the younger generation how to think that way. They don't think that way out of college or law school. So
Right.
trying to get them to understand the big picture on things. Yeah, you can do things for your clients to make things better, but you need to see how it impact the whole state. You know, I got a phone call from the chief of staff from Maricopa County Attorney's Office today. We've been discussing a bill, and Arizona law says that municipalities can't destroy firearms, unclaimed property, and anything like that. We actually had a lawsuit against the city of Tucson and beat Tucson over that in the past. Well, there's the wife or the widow of a police officer that was killed. Okay, that firearm is in the unclaimed property now. Now, according to statute, City of Phoenix is supposed to sell all firearms to FFLs, and then FFLs can sell them to the public.
Right.
She was very hurt by that understanding of that. And they asked, well, what would you feel about us for homicide cases, the firearms used in homicide cases, that the victim's family could have them destroyed? And I'm like, I'm okay with that. On a logical, legal level, the law says this. On an empathetic level, I get it. If my family got killed, I'd want that firearm destroyed too. If my family got killed by a drunk driver, I would want that car destroyed. That's the closure aspect of things. I said, short term, have the city of Phoenix sell that one firearm to an FFL for $1, and $1 to the widow, and let her destroy it. Okay, let her get the closure that she needs. That is that crossing over of, yeah, the law says this, but we have to come to a point where we have to have humanity in it all. We have to understand that, the old saying, everybody bleeds red type thing. Well, we need to get down to that core of who we are as people and understand that, I may look at the world a certain way, you look at the world a certain way, but we're looking at the world.
Right.
And we need to fix the world.
I agree. So do you have any like shining stars as far as some of the younger advocates or activists that you're training right now? Any of them that are showing the zeal that, like, you really might be the next one?
No.
Really?
Not really.
None?
Not really.
That is very sad to hear. Because I'm only ask you that because I have a boys program, and I can say definitively I have at least 2 boys that I have seen take on the initiative of, 1, getting more kids into the program, 2, really honing in the skills of performance shooting. So I look at them like, okay, like when I'm ready to just sit in the office somewhere and my director is ready to take up my position, this really might be one of the kids that can be the one to really take this to the next level. And I always say that us as older activists, we have to maintain more of like a Moses mindset, to where we're going to get them through the wilderness. We might even see the promised land, but we're probably not going to get them there. Yeah. There's going to be somebody that comes after us that really takes it to the next level.
Specifically for Second Amendment stuff, I hold that really close because it impacts. What happens in Arizona impacts the rest of the country.
For sure.
For motorcycle transportation stuff, I have a guy down in Tucson that is taking that torch up and does really well with it. I have another one here in Phoenix that does veterans issues, because we lobby for veterans as well.
Okay.
But Second Amendment wise, not yet. I think that's me being stingy and not giving it up. Honestly, I like to fight. I really do. I like coming up with creative solutions on things. Trying to get these kids to understand firearm safety in kindergarten.
Yeah.
How do you teach them? Their parents don't understand it. So you bring somebody into the school with the mock firearms and
teaching tools.
Teach them, yeah.
Yep.
A lot what Maj does in Philadelphia, and what he goes into the schools and teaches that, in the inner cities about gun safety. I would love to take his program and plop it in every school in Arizona. They would freak out here. So we take things one step at a time. That's one of those things that I want to see done. I taught my girls firearm safety. I taught them how to clear a house when they were 7, 8 years old. why can't parents teach their kids this? But I didn't allow water pistols or Nerf guns or anything in the house. Firearms are weapons. Weapons are tools. You don't play with them. So,
Okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to be able to get something rolling here with the kids, because that's one of my main focuses when I moved here too, is like everywhere I go, there's a kid somewhere that needs to learn proper firearm safety, no matter what. Either we're going to introduce it to them, or they're going to get introduced to it more than likely the wrong way if it's not in a controlled environment. So I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
Well, I mean, you have a lot of 10, 11, 12-year-old kids that'll go over to friends' houses and stuff, and parents own firearms.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if your friend is playing with a firearm, no, we don't play with those.
Right.
And we need to teach these kids that. The data says that those accidental shootings aren't as prevalent as Bloomberg and Gifford say they are.
Oh.
But one's too many.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's actually the slogan for my friend's kids' safe class in Oregon. It's zero firearms accidents is the goal. Like and he hasn't had one yet. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. We've been running our program for 4 or 5 years now, and we don't have any black eyes in that regard. All our kids,
awesome.
They learned on SIRT pistols in a classroom setting first. Once they got that repetition down, now they're on the range doing everything that the adults are doing with them. So, yeah, man, I really believe that the kids are going to be the future, and us equipping them with the proper knowledge, even more so than the skill, is, to me, a huge and underrated factor that I think needs more emphasis.
Yeah, well, there's organizations in the state that need to be more involved in the younger generation. I'm the chief lobbyist for AZCDL. That's the self-defense side of legislation and things. We fight for that aspect of things. ASRPA, Arizona State Rifle and Pistol Association, which is the state level NRA organization, I represent them as well. And they do a lot of youth competition and things like that. But it's a lot with rifles. It's not with pistols.
Yep.
So they need to get more into that. I also represent the Firearms Industry Trade Association, so I'm trying to cover, we have the education and competition, we have home self-defense and everyday carry, and we have those who are manufacturing, all for everybody. So if we can protect all three aspects of it, we have the pyramid of power.
Right. Okay, yeah, I mean, you build the infrastructure, all we gotta do is maintain the integrity of it.
Yep.
Wow, okay, so what would you say regular everyday citizens should be focused on right now to protect their rights in Arizona and nationwide?
Vote. Know who you're voting for. Ask the tough questions. I'm not a single issue voter, but Second Amendment issues is one of the issues that I always ask questions on. We have constitutional carry in Arizona. I can't go into a sports bar and go sit down and eat. I don't drink, but I can't go in there when somebody's having beers and go and eat with my wife without being unarmed.
Right.
Okay. To me, that's okay. Well, yeah, I can get that, but where does my safety come in? The liability for my safety doesn't fall onto the business owner. They're not responsible for my safety. So I should be responsible for my own safety. Why can't I protect myself if somebody else is not going to do it?
So with that law specifically, like, what do police expect you to do? Just be a victim?
Yep.
That's a no-go.
Yep. I had probably 16 or 17 years ago, I had a guy breaking into my truck 3:30 in the morning. I wake up really early. I wake up between 3:30 and 4, sit on my balcony, and we were living in a condo at the time, and drinking my coffee on the balcony, and saw some guy trying to break into my truck. I'm like, oh hell no. Grabbed my pistol, went downstairs in my pajamas, and held him at gunpoint till the cops got there. Cops freaked out. said, well, blah, 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 you should firearm safety and you should do this, do that. And I said, well, here's, carry my pistol. I'm going to take it back up, to my house. And while he walked in, still lecturing me, and then he looked at my wall and saw all my pictures from combat, all my ribbons and bat medals and the firearms safe, and he's like, oh, okay.
Right, yeah.
I said, I could have killed him.
I was going to say, firearm safety, you didn't shoot the guy.
Yeah.
That, to me, is firearm safety, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of law enforcement they don't realize the everyday citizen. They judge you by, you're a young black guy. What do you know about marksmanship?
Probably shoot better than a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of mentality that a lot of them have. It's like, I'm an old white guy. What do I know about whatever?
Right.
I get pulled over, by law enforcement. They say, well, this, that, and the other thing. I said, well, okay, let me have your name and badge number, so I can make sure I write this. I don't have to give it to you. Yeah, you do. No, I don't. Well, here's my bar card.
You sure you want to play this game?
Well, and it changes all of a sudden, so it's, but that's their training.
Right.
Right. It's they're trained to, I know more than you. Attorneys have that same mentality. I know more than you because I went to law school. Dude, I wrote the laws.
Right. I'm part of your curriculum.
I mean, I dress like this majority of the time, so it throws people off. It's like, hey, I'm me. Just because I have an education doesn't make me better than anybody else. I got an education so I could do things better than everybody else.
That is amazing, man. That is truly amazing. Okay, let's get into what I said in the beginning, the difference between an activist and an advocate. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong about this, an activist is active. We are doing things. We are pushing the needle forward. Mm-hmm. To me, when I see a lot of advocates, it's a lot of talking after the fact of legislation being passed. It's a lot of talking on a camera, never actually talking to the board that's about to pass the anti-gun legislation. And it's a lot of more surface level, almost commercial type of activism.
The one who pushes the buttons to send the email from their house.
Yes.
And never does anything else.
And I'd even take, hey, if you jumped on the Zoom and still testified at your state capitol that way, fine with me. But to only come out retrospectively and talk after something has happened, and I'm kind of scorned by that because I saw a lot of this go on in Colorado. And coming to Arizona because of the close proximity, I really want to warn Arizona, like, yo, I know you guys are gun loving, but just be aware what's going on right to the north of you in Colorado.
Colorado used to be gun loving.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I'd say that ended, 2013 when they started the magazine restrictions?
Yep.
Man. So, perspective.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with that. And then you have those who are a hybrid of activist advocates. Those who are both. They're the ones that are grassroots, on the ground, recruiting others, testifying in committees, and doing all the back end stuff as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us a couple, or at least one example of one of those hybrids, just to highlight them, because to me, if you are covering both aspects, you're doing a lot of work.
Cheryl Todd.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Cheryl Todd, our state director for Women for Gun Rights, AZCDL's vice president. She does all the recruiting effort for Women for Gun Rights. She helps. I'll throw ideas out to the board of, hey, I think I can get this legislation through committee or through at least to the governor's desk. She weighs in on that. She goes to D.C. I walked the Women for Gun Rights ladies around the Capitol when I was lobbying in D.C. We just happened to be there at the same time. So I brought them into some of the offices and sat down with some of our congressional representatives.
Wow. Okay.
And she's down at the Capitol. Every time that I need somebody to testify in committee, she's there. Every single time. She never says no.
That's amazing. Shout out to Cheryl.
Yep.
Big shout out to Cheryl.
Yep. What it takes to get a bill written and through. A good idea, background research, legislative research, getting together and having a good working relationship with the lawyers on the legislative council. I got an email today. We're doing writing a bill on autonomous vehicles to make sure they're safe on the road. Well, the lawyer who's writing it up, the staff person who's writing the actual language up that I submitted and tweaking it to make sure it fits our statutes, she came back with questions, really good questions that I knew in my head, but I didn't put down on paper. So having that working relationship there and trusting that the lobbyist or government affairs professional, whatever you want to call it, and leg counsel are going to work together for the legislator that's going to sponsor the bill. Then you have to have a good bill sponsor, one that believes in what you're doing, whatever policy area you want to change. Because there are some that could care less. You know, they do it for PR reasons. They don't really, their heart's not in it. And then you have to walk it through committee, caucus, whipping votes for floor votes, and then it starts all over again in the other chamber. Committee, caucus, floor votes, and then it gets to the governor's desk.
And if there are any amendments, it has to go all the way back again, right?
Not all the way back. They usually do it in committee, or they call it committee of the whole, on the floor. Those are two places that it does amendments. That's where your preparation ahead of time comes in, to where you don't have amendments. I hate amendments. I really do, because they usually screw up the intent.
Right.
So I try to fix it in the stakeholder process before it even gets introduced the first time, to make sure everything is set. We can get a good bill, 2 pages long, and we can get that introduced. That's best bills I've seen.
No,
I've gotten bills four lines.
That's what I was going to ask you. As of recent, have you seen a bill that was only 2 pages?
Yeah, I've written. Our lane filtering bill
okay.
was 4 lines.
Really?
4 lines, that's it.
That's good.
Yep.
What about Second Amendment legislation? Because I feel like a lot of our legislation now is just getting packed in under other bills.
I had a bill.
At least nationally.
Yeah, I had a bill last year that Senator David Gowan carried for us. We have a preemption statute in Arizona that says that municipality can't write laws that restrict more than the state statute is, which is great. State supersedes like federal supersedes.
Right.
It's it could be up to a $50,000 fine for the municipality if they violate that preemption statute. I don't feel that the taxpayer should pay for some city council member saying, "Hey, I'm just going to vote for it because I like it. It's no skin off my butt if we get sued over it or not, because I'm not paying for it. The taxpayer ends up paying for it. We sued Pima County. $50,000 fine is probably going to be $200,000 in lawyer fees. You know, well, who pays for that? Not those county supervisors that voted for it.
Right.
It's the taxpayers in Pima County. So we wrote a bill adding one line that the courts could levy a fine of up to $5,000 for those who voted for it that cannot be paid out of public monies.
I like that.
So all I want them to do is think before you act.
Right.
Okay? If you believe in it and your lawyers say that it's fine, and you're getting good legal advice, fine. But if it violates our preemption statute, you're going to be held accountable for it. Plain and simple. As citizens, we're held accountable for things. Why don't we hold elected officials accountable? And that was only a one line. It got vetoed, but at one line. We're gonna bring it back. Florida has a $5,000 fine, a personal fine. We have a $50,000 fine to the municipality. I want to put them both together. We want to fine the municipality and fine the individual.
I have a question. When it comes to bills and committees, right? If a bill is defeated, what is the logic behind a strategy of giving that bill to a different committee to then present it again?
More favorable. A bill has to go through the committee process before it can go to a floor vote. state and federal aspect of things. If you can get it, the committee level is the vetting process, is making sure to ask the tough questions to those who are supporting the bill, who wrote the bill, who are, advocating for the bill. You get to pitch your idea and make your argument, and the committee legislators on the committee get to ask the tough questions, which I always feed committee members questions, or as much as I can. With one-page drop sheets of here's what this bill's about. Here's some things that are not going to be said that you might want to get asked. You might want to ask. Yeah. Even ask me the tough questions. If I can't answer it, then you shouldn't vote for it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So go ahead.
What was this? The second part of your question?
I got a better one, so it doesn't even matter.
Go ahead.
As far as becoming a lobbyist, what is the process to do that for anyone that is aspiring to jump into that gauntlet with you?
Read the federal constitution, read the state constitution, understand basic civics, how the bill becomes a law. The
conjunction junction.
Yeah,
yep.
I was gonna say that different thing. Yeah, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill.
Yep.
But there's actually on AZLEG.gov, there's actually underneath legislative council, there's actually how a bill becomes a law in the state of Arizona. It goes through the whole process. They can learn from that and have a passion for what you're doing. Doesn't matter if it's Second Amendment issues. It doesn't matter if it's school choice. It doesn't matter if it's, I want my neighbors to pick up their dog's poop, and get something done. You have to have a passion for what you want done.
Gotcha.
And then from there, it's all about relationships. It's being able to get along with everybody on a humanity level. Not on a political level, but on a humanity level.
Got you. All right.
I believe in respecting the opposition just as much as our side.
Right.
So.
Okay. I think this will be a good one. And it might have some overlap from that answer as well, but what advice would you give to someone that is a lobbyist already that wants to get, I guess, deeper into the fight?
It's not all about your client. It's about the people of the state that you work in. We lobby in 13, we're registered to lobby in 13 states, and we track bills in 34 states. Trying to expand a little bit more and writing bills and doing model legislation for the whole country, basically. Trying to export freedom from Arizona.
Right.
But realize that it's not all about your client. It's not all about money. Lobbyists can make big bucks, but once you focus on the green aspect of politics, you lose focus on what really matters. It's that single mom that needs to protect her and her kids, Second Amendment wise. It's that truck driver that's traveling across country that needs to protect himself, that can't carry a firearm across state lines.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure, and this kind of is full circle of the conversation, make sure you're leading by service and serving the people that elected you to do, or the people that will be affected by the legislation the absolute most.
Yep.
So do you maintain that mentality or that mindset by actually being out in the public and talking to regular everyday people? Every day.
I'm out every day. And I'm not a people person. I'm an introvert for the most part. I would love to hole myself up in my office or in a library studying, doing research. That would be the ultimate job for me, to be able to do research and write legislation. But you can't do that. I stopped on the way here and grabbed a burger and chatted with the guys who worked at Jack in the Box. Hey, how you doing financially? Can you make a living working here? What kind of hours do you work? Type thing. Just to get them the economic development and the way the economy's going. I live pretty comfortably, but I don't spend exorbitantly. I'm a tightwad with my money, but not everybody's that way. And I want to know what the average person are you paying $2,500 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment in Phoenix? There are people who do that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. At 23 years old, you have a wife and a kid. Are you thinking about buying a house? What's your plan?
Right.
I want to hear what their plan is, if they have a plan, because they may have a better idea than I have. I want that give and take. You have to be teachable. I learned that at a very young age. No matter how smart you are, or how much you know, you still have to be teachable. There's always somebody that's smarter than you and knows more than you that could teach you something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All
Whether
right.
it's a 10-year-old kid or a 100-year-old grandma. So last thing, if you're gonna cut it off, I want
No, not gonna cut it off.
Okay.
I do have the last question though.
Okay.
It's much more light question than.
Okay. Well, I wanted to talk about the phone call I got.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
On the way in here, my phone, I missed a phone call from Representative Kwong Win. He's the chairman of House Judiciary up in he represents LD1, Yavapai County. I called him back. I said, "What can I do for you?" I was on the bike, and he goes, "Well, we have a big problem." I said, well, "Okay, what's the problem?" He goes, "Pima County just annexed a trap and skeet range to build a data center. They close on it December 10th. So we don't have much time. It's not state fire gun ranges are protected. This is a county range, so they can do whatever they want with it." But he said that the constituent who let him know this called his legislators, no reply.
So what is that an indicator of?
It means that I have a lot of work to do tomorrow.
All right.
I don't know how I'm going to, I don't have a solution off the top of my head. I mean, it was literally, I got off the phone and walked in.
Here, yeah.
So I have to call him back before I leave, before I head back over to Glendale. And I'll probably work on this for a few hours tomorrow, try to figure out a way to save the gun range.
Man. Well, one, thank you for joining me today, because
Anytime.
this is a great conversation. Like, personally, everything that you're doing, I admire 100%. We have a mutual friend, Maj Toure.
Yep.
Someone who is always working. Solutionary lifestyle, for sure. But thank you. Thank you for maintaining the mindset that you have. Thank you for the zeal for the Second Amendment and for just the integrity of humanity. That's what I'm getting from you, is that you have really infused your love for preservation of life and the Second Amendment into everyone else's everyday struggle, for lack of better terms.
That comes from, and I'm a Marine veteran. I was in the Persian Gulf. Once you realize that you've taken another human being's life, and this is something I struggled with, that the Bible says thou shalt not kill. Actually, it says thou shalt not murder, but in my lack of theological knowledge, I thought it was thou shalt not kill
anything.
I said, okay, well, I've killed another human being. I'm screwed. I can't get to heaven now, because I don't regret doing that, because I was fighting for my country. There's a lot of introspection that comes with that wow, life is precious. And I've always been an advocate for the death penalty. It's been in the last 10 years, should the government be able to kill somebody? I believe that there should be payment for what they did, but should the government do it? I don't know. I mean, it's making me question some things, about life. I believe in life begins at conception, so I'm going to protect that. I believe that from conception to your last heartbeat to heartbeat, we need to protect the life. All life across this country, across the globe, to be able to grow to their potential. Whatever their potential decides to be, we need to give them the opportunities and afford the opportunities. My generation, I'm a Gen X, we need to give it to Gen Y or Gen Z or whatever the new one is. set that path, not to make it easy for them, but to show them that they can cut through everything to make their own path, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a great way to end this. But we do have to ask the signature last question. You kind of talked about it earlier. What is your favorite gun? Oh, we get to see it. A Glock.
Yep.
19?
Yep, Glock 19.
Hey, can't beat it.
Only because
Can't beat it.
Only because I'm fat and I can't appendix carry.
Hey,
and
man.
it's light and doesn't pull my pants down. So
And you know it's going to work.
Yeah.
10 times out of 10 when you pull that thing out.
I'm a Colt 1911 guy.
Okay, classic.
Yeah, it's old school. I carried one when I was in the Marine Corps, so I can still close my eyes and take one apart. But my Glock is my everyday carry.
Gotcha. Okay.
So.
Has technology done anything with has technology affected lobbying at any point?
Yes.
Tell me how.
3D printing has made things very difficult to try to win the argument on firearms.
Really?
Yeah. You can go and print your own firearm. You know?
Completely, yeah.
Why shouldn't you be able to do that? We live in a free country, right?
Right.
You should be able to do that. Well, the law says that you can't. That's a ghost gun, you know? You can't do that. So trying to own that narrative and being able to keep advancing freedom. And one thing that I always say, we're not taking back our rights, or we're not expanding our rights. Okay, because everybody, the left and the anti-gunners always say, well, they're expanding, you know, the Second Amendment. They're expanding the Second Amendment. No, we're just taking back what was taken.
Right.
In 1934, 1968, 1992. You know, we're just taking back bit by bit. We can't take it all back the way they took it from us.
Well, that would have been the NFA, wouldn't it?
NFA, the one in the 30s. The one in the 60s with the Firearms Act, and then the Brady Law.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that happened. You know, I try to write as much as possible. I wrote a blog article today based upon the passing of the budget last night. Read through it. Since the Brady bill, the VA has been taking Second Amendment rights away from veterans.
We were just discussing somebody who he's going to come on and tell the story himself. Good. But the VA tried to get his wife to red flag him. And she adamantly was like, absolutely not.
But yeah. 200,000 veterans do not have their gun rights because they have a fiduciary. They have somebody helping them, making sure their bills are paid. So they're considered mentally incompetent because of that reason and that reason alone.
But they wouldn't say that about someone who just has a regular accountant?
Right.
Whew, that's frustrating.
So we're working on that. That's one of the things that we work on. That's a federal thing, but we're working on that on a state level. I mean, it's I went to the VFW last night and explained, hey, this is what's going on. Now we're protected till 2030. The veterans are protected till 2030, but what happens after 2030? Right. You know, Representative or Congressman Crane has a bill to get those 200,000 veterans their rights back. You know,
that's
but
amazing.
This has happened. We're trying to take that back.
Right.
You know, little by little. If your viewers want to watch, go on and look up Eli Crane and VA director. He chews his butt out. It's hilarious to watch. This is a former Navy SEAL, combat veteran, congressman, goes off.
Okay. I'll make sure I do that. Yeah. Cool. I don't got anything else for you. I'm sure there's going to be enough.
I got one question.
Go ahead.
When are we going to go to the range?
I was at the range today. We can go whenever you want. Man,
Sounds
when I
good.
say the range is my second office.
Okay.
I'm at Phoenix Rod and Gun at least every Monday or Tuesday, and then any other time after that. I'm always down for a range trip, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Set it up.
Okay, cool. Cool. Well, again, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you for the very, very valuable information, and we'll be working together on a lot of stuff real soon. So
Absolutely.
everybody stay tuned, and we're out.